Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a masterclass, a lesson that, for pilots, is literally the difference between life and death. We're talking about one of the most misunderstood concepts in all of aviation.
So let's just jump right in with a question. What actually makes an airplane stall? You might think you know the answer, and it might seem pretty simple. But oh boy, getting this wrong? Well, the consequences can be huge.
Okay, so the most common answer you're going to hear, even from some pilots, is that the plane is just flying too slow. And you know what? That kind of makes sense, right? Not enough speed, you don't get enough lift, and boom, you fall out of the sky. But that's not quite right. It's not the full picture.
And that incomplete picture, it's actually really dangerous, because a stall isn't really about speed at all. The real reason a plane stalls comes down to this one crucial concept every single pilot has to master, something called the angle of attack.
So, to really get what's going on, we've got to forget about the speedometer for a second. We need to focus on this one specific angle. It's the angle that truly matters.
All right, so the official name from the FAA is angle of attack, or AOA for short. And what is it? Well, imagine the wing, okay, and then imagine the air rushing towards it. The AOA is simply the angle between the wing surface and that oncoming air, what pilots call the relative wind.
Here's a good way to picture it. The nose of the plane could be pointing up, but the plane itself might be sinking. So the wind isn't coming straight on. It's actually hitting the wing from below. It's that difference, that angle between the wing and the air, that is everything. It's not about where the nose is pointed.
And for pretty much every airplane out there, there's a kind of danger zone, a critical number. It's usually somewhere between 16 and 20 degrees. And once you hit that angle, you've crossed a line. It's the point of no return for that nice, smooth airflow over the wing. Because the second you go past that critical angle, that smooth layer of air that's generating all the lift, it just gives up. It separates, peeling away from the wing's surface and turning into a chaotic, turbulent mess. Lift is gone, just like that. And that's the stall. So let's really hammer this home. A stall has nothing to do with going too slow. It has everything to do with exceeding that critical angle of attack. You can be going super fast in a steep turn and stall. You can even have the nose pointed at the ground and stall. It's always about the angle between the wing and the wind. Okay, so we get it. It's super important. But how on earth do you teach something like this? I mean, it's all about invisible air and abstract angles. How does a great instructor make that real for a student sitting in the cockpit?
Well, it all comes back to this one key idea from the official FAA handbook. The real goal here isn't to have students memorize a definition. It's to get them to actually visualize it, to have this constant running movie in their head of what the wing is doing and how the air is flowing over it at all times.
And the best teachers, the real masters, they have a method. First, they simplify. They might grab a model airplane, anything to make the physics you can see and touch. Then they build on what the student already gets, right? They connect the new, tricky stuff to something familiar. And the final step, and this is huge, is to engage all the senses. Because flying is so much more than just looking at gauges.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. It's about turning raw data into gut instinct. A great instructor will teach a student to listen to the sound of the wind changing pitch, to feel how the controls get kind of mushy when you're getting close to a stall, to notice tiny little vibrations through the airframe. It's about developing a feel for the plane's energy, using your whole body, not just your eyes.
Okay, so you're starting to build that intuition. How do you make it sharp? How do you make it reliable? Well, you have to test it. You've got to put yourself in situations that feel totally real, where every little decision has a consequence.
And that's why modern flight schools use something called scenario-based training. It's brilliant, really. Instead of just, practicing a turn over and over, the instructor creates a whole story, a realistic flight where things might go wrong, forcing the student to make real decisions under real pressure.
This is where all that classroom theory slams into reality. In one of these scenarios, a pilot isn't just learning a checklist for how to recover from a stall. No, they are drilling it again and again and again. The whole point is to make it pure muscle memory. So if that critical moment ever happens for real, you don't think, you just act.
And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, the true goal of this whole masterclass in teaching. It's about going beyond just memorizing steps. It's about reaching a state of pure instinctual understanding. Instructors talk about this incredible breakthrough moment. A student will just nail a really tough maneuver, just perfectly. And when the instructor asks, "How did you do that?" the student almost can't explain it. They'll just shrug and say something like, "I don't know, I could feel it."
That feel, that is everything. That's the ultimate goal of teaching. It's the magic moment when all that hard work, all that book knowledge just clicks and transforms into an automatic, intuitive skill. It's the difference between knowing a fact for a test and truly, deeply understanding something.
And really, this whole journey, from thinking hard about every step to just doing it by feel, that's how we master anything complex, right? Not just flying an airplane. It could be riding a bike, playing an instrument. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What's that one skill you've learned so well that it's just become second nature to you?